One topic that comes up all the time in the gun community is open carry versus concealed carry. Now, I'm not talking about concealed carry as an activist act. I'm talking about just carrying openly or concealed every day. Now, a lot of people will ask me how I feel about open carry as an activist act, and I'm all for it. As long as it's done well, as long as you have a good point, as long as you make your point well, and as long as you do more good than harm, I'm all for it. Even if civil disobedience is involved, sometimes I think that's necessary to make your point and to actually have a good argument. So I'm all for open carry activism if it's done right. What I'm actually talking about when I talk about open carry versus concealed carry is the tactical aspects of open carry versus concealed carry, which is actually better as far as tactics are concerned. Now, first off, I'll say I personally conceal carry. I conceal carry the vast majority of the time. I open carry once a month just to make a point, but most of the time I carry concealed. It's not very concealed sometimes. Sometimes I really just don't give a crap. I'll just wear like a t-shirt over my gun, as you can see here, and you can clearly see my gun. You can see my speed loader pouch. You can see that I'm carrying if you look closely enough, but most people don't even look when you're open carrying, so most people definitely don't notice this. I actually call this my I refuse to be afraid of something as silly as someone taking my gun and using it against me when it's even unlikely that I'm ever attacked at all, so I don't give a fuck what you think and I'll carry how I like to carry. But that name is way too long to put on a t-shirt, so I usually just call this method obvious carry. So there's actually kind of a category between open carry and concealed carry called obvious carry, and often I fall into that category. Now, one of the biggest tactical advantages of open carry that you'll hear open carry proponents talk about is how much easier it is to access your gun in an emergency situation. It's right out there in the open. It's usually not held as tight to your body. You can get your hand on it quicker. You know exactly where it's at. You don't have to move any clothing. Boom, you've got your gun instantly when you need it. With concealed carry, you got to move clothing. It's got to be hidden. So, you have to go through a layer of protection before you get to your gun. Usually your gun is closer to your body, so it's harder to grab. So it is harder to access concealed carry when compared to open carry. If that was the only factor to consider, open carry would definitely be better. But there is another big factor that people talk about quite a bit when they talk about this topic. And that is open carry a deterrent to crime, or is it a crime magnet? Does it make you a target? Do people see your gun and target you because of your gun? If someone comes in to rob a bank and they see you have a gun, do they shoot you first? Or do they just see you walking down the street with a gun and go, I want that gun, come up behind you with a pipe and bash you in the head? Or does the sight of that gun stop more crime? Does it make people think twice about doing anything? Maybe make them walk into the bank and go, ooh, there's armed people in here, I'm out of here. With concealed carry, you don't have to think about that because they don't see your gun. With open carry, that is a concern. That question is actually kind of like a chicken and the egg question. It's one of those questions that's really hard to prove one way or the other. Now, to be honest, I actually thought the chicken and the egg question is if you shove an egg up your ass and a chicken comes out, what happened to the egg? Kind of like if you put bread in a toaster and toast pops up, what happened to the bread? But apparently that's not what the question actually is. It's which came first, the chicken or the egg. It's just one of those questions that's hard to answer. So, this is hard to answer also because it's hard to find evidence for both sides. Now, I know a lot of people will say concealed carry is definitely better because there are a few isolated cases of people being targeted for their gun, sometimes even by other good guys who think they're doing a good thing. They see someone openly carrying a gun, they think they're a bad guy, they tackle them, hold them down, call the police. But there are a few cases of people being targeted because of their guns. So those few cases, people will point to them and go, see, right there, it's bad to open carry because that has happened. But the problem with that argument is you can't see the counter. You can't see how many times has a crime been prevented because someone was open carrying. If someone walks in, sees their gun, and then decides, I'm not going to do this today and leaves, you can't quantify that. You can't actually say, aha, it happened this many times because it doesn't happen. It's hard to prove a negative. Hard to prove something didn't happen. That could be happening 1,000 times for every time someone's targeted. We wouldn't know. Now, there is evidence that they get from, polling people that are in prison, surveying criminals where they say, the last thing I want to do is mess with someone with a gun. If I see someone that has a gun, I'm out of there. If I know someone has a gun in their home, I don't break into it. That's actually a common question from criminals. That seems to be their worst nightmare is armed good guys. So that would be evidence, but at best, that's hypothetical evidence. So there is actually some evidence there to support open carry would be a good idea, but like I say, it's really hard to quantify. It's really hard to prove one way or the other, so you can't really get a good comparison. Now, I will also add that there are cases of people that, go to get their concealed carry gun, fumble with it, and get hurt because of that. I actually saw a video on True TV the other night, one of those hidden camera videos or one of those surveillance camera videos, where a guy went to pull his pocket carry gun out of his pocket. The gun got stuck in his pocket. He fumbled with it, dropped it. As he bent to pick it up, the guy kicked him in the face really hard. So if he'd been open carrying, that probably wouldn't have happened. But like I say, very isolated incident and very circumstantial evidence. It's nothing that proves anything one way or the other. So in the end, I guess it's just going to be one of those questions that never gets answered. So you're just going to have to use your best judgment. What do you think is the best answer? And what's the best answer for you? Now, I would love for open carry to become such a commonplace thing that no one thought anything of it. I would love to be able to open carry because it's so much easier. But for now, it does draw unwanted attention, so I choose not to do it. That's the choice I make for me. Now, I would love it to get to where criminals think, well, I might target that guy for his gun, but everybody else around, probably half of them are going to have guns too, so if I attack him, they're going to get me, so it ain't worth it. I would love for that to be the case, but that just isn't the case right now. So now, for me personally, I'm going to conceal carry, or obvious carry, as I sometimes do, as I said earlier, because to me, the biggest advantage I can have is one that the bad guy doesn't know about. You ain't even my real dad.